Welcome, UC Bearcats, to UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Grooming Fruit Radio Network. As always, I'm your host, Ernest, along with my co-host, Mark Fightmaster. Mark, who do we have today as our guest?
Well, this week we have two-time Big East basketball player for the women's basketball Bearcats, Kahla Roudebush. Kahla, welcome.
Hi. Good to be
Hi.
here.
And if you wouldn't mind, would you just start off by catching up our listeners with what's happened to you since you graduated from UC, where you are now, what you're doing?
I am an EMT at a medical group called American Medical Response. So, I mean, I think that speaks for itself. But since I've been out of college, I went overseas for a season and played professionally. I've worked with special needs kids, and now I'm an EMT looking to become a firefighter.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Are you located in Cincinnati?
No, I am back home in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, okay. I knew you were from around there. I didn't know if you stuck here or you went back home. So who did you play for overseas?
I played for a team called Nova Vita over in Romania.
Okay. And I guess I'm assuming you had some fun doing that.
I did. You know. It was a lot of fun.
Was it? Good.
Yeah.
James?
Yeah, so what was it like over there? Did you have to learn the language? How was interaction with the team?
I tried. It's not a very easy language to learn, but I learned the important ones like, hi, yes. I learned the street so I could tell the taxi where to take me back to. But it was a very good experience, and most of the Romanian girls were very, very friendly, and they spoke English.
Oh, nice. That always
so it made it a lot easier.
So was the food pretty good over there?
That is the one thing I would probably say that I did not like was the food. It was pretty much chicken or chicken.
Mm-hmm. So
unless you wanted to go to I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was going to say, so why only one season over there? I mean, you had great numbers.
Yes, I did, and I enjoyed it. It was mostly just because I wasn't getting the offers that were worth going back over there for me.
Okay.
To leave the U.S. again. So, but had I got them, I'd probably still be over there now playing, but I don't know. I really enjoy being an EMT, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was going to say, with your experience in basketball and dealing with stressful situations, does that help any with your current job with the EMT?
It does. Being put in the pressure situations and having to deal with the pressure points in basketball, when a team's coming back on you and you start feeling that pressure, it's the same type of pressure, just in a different form. And so having dealt with that in basketball all the years that I dealt with it, it definitely makes it second nature.
So it kind of reminds me of one of Coach Hall's quotes about you. She's our outside threat, and she's the person we look at when the shot clock's running down. So like you said, shoot the high-pressure situations you would excel at. Yeah.
Yep.
Mark, I'll let you do a couple questions.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, Kahla, who was the toughest opponent you played against in your time at UC?
Oh my goodness!
One person, or it could be a team or whatever. if it's a team, I kind of have an idea who it might be. But
I mean, we all know who it is as a team.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's just a given.
yeah, that perennial power over on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But is there one
still
player?
doing it today. So.
Oh God, yeah, 90 in a row again. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
it borders on ridiculous. It's got to be kind of frustrating when you're going up against them. I mean, how would you guys game plan for them?
It was mostly, I mean, because they're such a powerhouse, and they have a powerhouse at every position. So
mm-hmm.
you're not necessarily going to be able to stop them or keep them from scoring. It's basically you need to contain them as much as you can while putting the basketball in the goal.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can hang around long enough that by the end of the game you might still be in it and, take the strategy to the next level, whichever situation you're in. But, I mean, with them, when I would enter that game, because I knew it was going to be a long night for me,
mm-hmm.
but I would just look at it as they're the best in the country. This is why I came to Cincinnati. This is why I wanted to play. Back then it was the Big East, and it was the best conference in the nation. You were at the top of the basketball world, night in, night out, and I just wanted to compete against the best. And being able to say that I competed against the best is fantastic, and there's nothing else that needs to be said because it's just it was an accomplishment for me to go in and try to get my average against UConn, because if I could do that,
mm-hmm.
then I know that I'm at the level I need to be.
Yeah, that's and that's a great point. I mean, you can only do your best against them, and they're a machine. They
are.
I mean, it really is. It's a machine. And it's year in, year out. So
yeah.
Okay, so other than the attraction to the Big East, what else brought you to Cincinnati?
Back then, Lori Pirtle was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
She was the head coach who recruited me, and I absolutely loved her as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a big part of my upbringing as far as basketball goes, and I felt like she had a lot of his type of coaching in her, and so it felt like home. And the team really, when I was on my visit, they really welcomed my parents and my family, which was different than all the other places that I had visited. And so, I mean, and other than that, I mean, it's a beautiful city. I love it in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I still wish I lived there. So, I mean, it's an awesome place. The campus was awesome. The updates that they were bringing to it were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a high-class campus, and most people don't realize it.
Yeah, a lot of people around here kind of take it for granted, it's just, it's here, but they've really done a lot there, and it continues to grow. So have you been able to get back on campus recently?
I think it was last spring.
Okay.
No. It was no. It was like two falls ago I came in and stopped downstairs and saw Coach Elliott.
Oh, okay. Good. And what do you think of the team now? What do you think of the direction of the team, or your opinion on them?
I wish I would have been able to play more than 1 year for her.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she's a great coach. She's a great person, and it's taken a while for her to get the program to where it is now. But I mean, I think she's done a great job getting it where it is today, and she has some really, really talented girls on her team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a good team, and again, they're unfortunately, they're building against the likes of a UConn in their conference. But I think
exactly.
I think they're doing well. I really do. I think they're doing well, and it takes a little more patience, when dealing with that. So, but I think the program's in good hands, and you're right. I think she's an excellent coach.
Mhm.
So, James?
Yeah, when going home for the holidays, say if you were to do, either 21 or horse or whatnot with the family, who would win?
I'd probably have to go with my dad. My dad he was a sharpshooter, and he still is to this day at 64. He goes to LA Fitness and beats up on all the high school kids. So
the wily veteran.
So he played at Wabash College here in Indiana, and
okay.
So he held the scoring record at my high school, Hamilton Southeastern High School, for 40 years, and it took Gary Harris to beat it.
Wow.
So I'd have to go with him. I think that's a pretty safe bet, even though I would talk a lot of trash, and my sister would too, and my brother. So.
Yeah, I was going to say they were no slouches either. Your brother played at Anderson, and your sister at Cleveland State. I mean,
yes, my brother played baseball.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So, yeah, shoot, I missed that part on there. I just saw he played at Anderson. I figured with it being the family's tradition of basketball, I was like, oh, they probably all play basketball. So you're right.
He did in high school, but his passion was baseball.
Nice. You mentioned you had worked with special needs children. Have you done any coaching?
No, I have wanted to get into coaching like a Special Olympics basketball team. I just haven't had the time since.
Oh, that would be cool.
My new profession, but yeah, I do miss it, and I will eventually get myself back into that because it's definitely unknown to me at the time. It was definitely a passion of mine.
I can imagine that all the schoolwork that you have to do going in to be an EMT has got to be quite time consuming. And with the classes, which did you have experience with from your days at UC being a education student?
No, I ended up being a history major, so I was going to go into secondary education as a social studies teacher, but I switched to history because I wouldn't have been able to do my student teaching at the time.
Okay.
So I had to switch over, but I did have a couple of education classes, and so that helped. But honestly, I mean, it's a funny story. I walked in first day, and I'm like, these kids look normal. Like, what am I missing? They told me this was the special needs room. Like, and so the teacher who was next door was like, well, the majority of them are autistic kids. And I go, okay, but they look normal. Like, what do you mean? They don't have any physical disabilities. And she was like, well, they don't have any physical disabilities. It's mostly neurological. And so then as I got around them, I started picking up on things and started understanding what she was talking about. And so I was like, oh, okay. I had never even heard of autism. I had no idea what it was.
Right.
I mean, I'm walking into this blind. I'm like, I was just a substitute. Like, what happened here?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So with your medical experience with the shoulder, did that influence you any being an EMT? When you went through that, you've learned about rehab and all. Did any of that play into it?
It definitely it helps because I mean when you're with obviously a trauma patient, you understand the pain, you understand what they're going through. I mean, you don't really know what their pain threshold is, but you definitely can identify with that person and sort of, in a way, calm them down better than, say, somebody who's never even felt any. So there are advantages to it. I mean, I would have rather not had that experience, but since I did, I might as well put it to good use. So, but it does help. There's a lot of kids today don't, I mean, I know they hear it probably from their coaches and their parents when they say, you know, sports teaches you a lot about life, and they're not going to really understand that or experience it until they get outside that sport, but it definitely does. I mean, there have been countless situations in my life where, because of my background in sports, I've been able to overcome things that, you know, most people shouldn't overcome.
So on the current team, who do you feel kind of most reminds you of you?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Like Anna or Goings, or you know, who kind of plays a similar game?
I'd say probably Anna Owens, because mostly just because of her grit. I mean, she gets in there, she does the little things, the little, you know, she pays attention to the details that nobody else does. She does the dirty work that nobody else wants to, and I mean, and I think she's a pretty good leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been to about 4 or 5 games this year, and yeah, you're right. She plays it tough. She just goes full speed the entire game. I was going to say, the only thing, the major difference probably in the two is she lacks her shooting. I mean, she has some games, like she had a game against Ohio State last season, which was .435, but unfortunately this season she'll have some nights where she's on fire, and then like Coach has said, if she starts off slowly, then it just kind of snowballs from there and goes awry for the rest of the game. But you're right, on defense and then passing the ball, she'll still hustle like crazy. It's just the shooting. I think she's like a sophomore this year, so she's still got time to work through it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mark, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, I actually just have one more question. What was your favorite place to play? You know, I guess a visiting city or you know, where did you enjoy playing the most? What venue and in front of what fans?
My favorite besides playing at home in the Crosstown Shootout, that was probably like the best when it was with Coach Hall, and we had a huge crowd that night. I don't remember what year it was. It might have been 2008.
Okay.
But it was the Crosstown Shootout, and it was the most fun game I think I've ever played outside of the Louisville game with Coach Elliott, and we went into double overtime.
Oh, okay.
And we ended up beating Louisville on their court.
Yeah, it's got to be kind of a good feeling. I mean, they're a good sized rival, you know, with UC, and going down there and beating them down there, that's got to be a great feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say probably my favorite place to play outside of the shoe, it would be that's a tough question.
Didn't mean for it to be. Yeah.
I liked USF's gym. I really did.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It could have just been because it was in Florida, but I liked USF gym. So.
Amen. Amen. So have you seen the proposed redesigns for the Shoemaker Center?
I have, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks impressive, you know, closing everything in and getting more people into that area, you know, because that place that's a great place to play. I think
it is. I enjoyed every game I played there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
James, that was the last question I had.
So going to the other extreme, would you say probably the worst experience? Now that obviously you won some of the games up there, but probably travel-wise, getting there and just the whole atmosphere of it all, would you probably say the Great Alaskan Shootout?
I absolutely loved it.
That bad one? Oh, you loved it? Nice.
I loved it. Now, my teammates would feel differently because they're all like, well, everybody else is going to, like, the Virgin Islands and Hawaii.
Yeah.
Why are we going to Alaska? I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm enjoying every bit of it. I ate reindeer and I'm a country girl at heart. So, I mean, I grew up in the country, so I'm like at home. I'm like, this is great.
That's a pretty small gym, wasn't it, that you guys played in up there?
But it was bigger than I thought it was going to be.
It was, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was probably the size of DePaul's gym where the girls play, not where the men play. The girls play,
okay.
But just set up differently.
Okay. I just thought I only remember seeing it on TV. So, and it always struck me as, kind of like a high school sized gym,
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay.
And what did reindeer taste like?
Yeah, that is a good question.
It tasted like sausage.
Did it?
Like
okay.
spicy sausage, yeah.
Cool.
Well, Kayla, we greatly appreciate you coming on the show. Hopefully we'll see you at a UC game in the near future.
I hope so. I'd like to meet you guys in person.
Oh, yeah.
With the definitely in 28. I mean, obviously, hopefully it's before 2018, but definitely with the new arena, you'll have to at least make it down for a game for that.
Definitely.
Did UC contact you at all about the 50 or 53 they're doing this year with the big moments?
No,
I was wondering if any of your teammates or anything like that. It was like the biggest moments to happen on at a Fifth Third Arena. I mean, obviously, a lot of your major highlights were the Alaska, and like you said, shoot at Louisville and different other places. But yeah, they end up doing a big thing this year. It's been quite interesting, but unfortunately, they only limited it to 50. So I'm sure there have been so many moments, it's hard to narrow it down.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we greatly appreciate you coming on the show, and like we said, we definitely look forward to meeting you in person in the future, and definitely have you back on next season. And if you have any teammates you stay in touch with that you think would like to be on the show, definitely forward our information to them, because we're always looking for the female perspective about the Bearcats. Fortunately, we've had a bunch of the fellas that have played overseas. I mean, we had Eric Hicks, who he named, a half dozen countries he played at, and Tony Babbitt. So it's been a nice, we've got the male perspective, but we're definitely glad to have you on to get the female perspective about the University of Cincinnati.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me. So.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Welcome, UC Bearcats, back to the second part of the UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network. So, Mark, what have the current Bearcats been up to?
Well, the men's basketball team had a good week. They capped it off with a win against Houston the other night, Saturday night, and it was a really good effort. I was happy with the way they played the defense. Houston is a big-time three-point shooting team. I mean, they hit the threes. They have, I believe his last name is Gray. He averages 20-plus points a game. And while he did get 20 points in the game against the Cats, he was ineffective from three-point range. So that was a big plus in that game, because UC ended up winning handily at Houston against what they were 13-4, I believe, going into the game. Not an easy place to play. Kelvin Sampson coached team. They play hard. And the Cats went in there and played well. And what I really liked, aside from the defense, was we had a Kyle Washington sighting. You know, he played well, and so it was good to see him getting back into that form because they're going to need him as they roll through the conference schedule with the likes of we got SMU Thursday night, and then down the road, you know, we got the Central Floridas and South Floridas and those teams. So it's good to have him back and playing well.
Definitely, yeah. I was going to say he can be a major impact player. I mean, I think the problem is that Mick expects so much out of him when he doesn't live up or doesn't just go above and beyond. He rides him like he's a horse.
Right, yeah, and we talked about that a little bit last week as to maybe being the reason we haven't seen him as much or he hasn't been playing as well. And, you know, maybe something clicked and he understands, you know, he's doing this to get the most he can out of me. He doesn't just hate me. So, you know, hopefully that'll be it's a good sign for the rest of the conference schedule and moving forward from there.
Definitely. So, yeah, the men are doing well. What about the women? What have they been up to?
You know, quite honestly, I haven't. I did not have a chance to check it out before we got on the air. So I was wondering if I was going to ask you the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, I haven't been able to make it to a game in a little bit. I am hoping to make it to this Tuesday's game. They've been playing tough. Like Kahla was saying, I mean, Anna Owens has had a good season, and Goings has had a good season, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So we can always cover that more a little bit next week. But yeah, definitely. Hopefully, we'll have another nice, exciting guest like we did tonight. And any final comments?
Yeah, you know, there was a very enjoyable interview with Kahla. It was great catching up with her. Looking just quickly, it looks like next up for the Lady Bearcats, they've got Memphis on the 14th. They also handled business against Houston. I believe they beat them by 21 points, which is good. And that was here. So they're going to Memphis, and then they got SMU coming up. Well, what's today? Today's the 11th. So they play Memphis in 3 days, and then they've got SMU in a week. So you know, hopefully they can keep things rolling. They've won 4 out of the last 5, and hopefully they can keep going.
Oh, they should be able to. Like she was saying, they've got some good scores this year. I mean, obviously it's a tough schedule, but yeah, they've definitely played most of their games hard. Obviously, there's been a couple. I mean, the Ohio State game, just kind of like the UConn game, I'm sure will be hard to watch. But most of the other teams, you know, are very competitive. It's just, unfortunately, there is such a gap between the elites and then everybody else, as opposed to like the men's, where they've had more time to kind of even things out. Where, I mean, I know, you know, UCLA back in the day had, 11 titles, was it? Yeah, so, I mean, obviously UConn has done that, and then maybe even more so. I mean, just how dominant and their regular season winning percentages and all. So that does make women's basketball a little difficult.
Well, and I mean, you think about it, and this is the last thing I'll say about UConn, but you think about it, they just ripped off another 90-game win streak, and that's another. You know, I mean, 1 is impressive, you know, 2 is amazing, but you know, fortunately, UC doesn't look like they have to travel to UConn to play this year. UConn will be visiting the friendly confines of Fifth Third Arena. But that's not till February yet. So we'll talk a little bit more about them when the time comes.
Yeah, let me see when that is exactly. February got me intrigued. Ooh, it's a Tuesday. Yeah, I definitely will have to find my way to that game. That way I can see some of the future WNBA stars. Because I'm in talks with the Fever to maybe even cover them in the future. So that's
cool.
Yeah, because
very cool.
You've got a couple that, you know, either they will be playing in the WNBA or they'll be playing in, you know, overseas in the future. So, of course, like you mentioned, Anna Owens has got a potential. I mean, right now she's a junior, so she's got another year to develop. And, of course, the other one is Shanice Johnson. Shanice is really tough player. I mean, she gets in there, rebounds with the best of them. Her only downside, though, is going to make it tough for her to get to the next level is she's 5'11", and unfortunately you can't too tight, but she definitely can't stop her heart and effort and desire for winning.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it comes out. But, folks, we greatly appreciate you stopping in at the UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Growing Truth Radio Network, and we hope to see you again next week.